Russia is the largest country in the entire world, so it is no doubt that some strange and also fascinating things are going to be found there. From some of the most notorious lakes in the world, to a couple weird monuments, to the oldest wooden sculpture ever found. We've got a wide variety of things to talk about today as we head through the top 10 weirdest things found in Russia. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot we have Lake Karachay. This is a small lake that is located in central Russia in the southern Ural Mountains. While it was once just a regular old lake, starting in 1951 the Soviet Union began using it as a dumping ground for radioactive waste from Mayak, which was the nearby nuclear waste storage and reprocessing facility. While this lake was originally too small to be used as a source of cooling water, they found that it was the perfect size to be a convenient dumping ground for high-level radioactive material that was too hot to store in the facility's underground vats. While the original intention was to only use the lake for storage purposes and one day to return the radioactive material to the plant, this of course didn't work out even close to according to plan, considering the lake quickly turned lethal. I didn't know it took a genius to figure that out, but I suppose hindsight is 2020. This lake is now one of the most contaminated, polluted, and dangerous places in the entire world, and the radioactivity in the lake is comparable to what it was once like in Chernobyl. Being on par with the worst nuclear disaster of all time certainly isn't a good look. The lake is definitely interesting to look at, but maybe not in the best way. It is said that even being near the lake for as short as an hour is enough to give a deadly dose of radiation, so I think if you're heading through Russia anytime soon, this might be one tourist destination worth skipping. In our number 9 spot today we have a Monument to Enemas. This super weird monument was first unveiled in 2008 outside of a Russian spa, and it is the only monument dedicated to enemas in the entire world. I'm not gonna lie, I can't say that I'm surprised by that. The 770-pound bronze statue stands almost 5 feet tall, and it was created by a local artist named Svetlana Avakova. If you can believe it, this statue took inspiration from the Botticelli painting Venus and Mars. The inspiration painting is one that features cherubs stealing the god of war's weapon, and the inspired piece features those same cherubs stealing, well, you know what. The reason for this statue is apparently to commemorate the region where the spa lies. It is said that the area is home to many mineral springs, and it has long been a destination for Russians seeking rest and cures through the healing waters. I'm not exactly seeing the connection, but hey, I respect it. In our number 8 spot today we have Fort Zverev. Originally built in the 1870s, Fort Zverev is one of the several forts of Kronstadt, and it is located along the shores of the Baltic Sea. The fort originally had a mushroom shape with a curved ceiling, which was a different design than any of the other forts that were built. At the beginning of the 20th century, the fort was converted into a warehouse of sorts to hold things like sea mines and to dump ammunition, and even after World War II ended, it was still the home to a ton of military training and practical shooting. In the basement there were stores of what is considered the equivalent to napalm, and this proved to cause a ton of trouble when a fire broke out. The fire raged on for weeks, and it was hotter than 2,000 degrees Celsius, which is insane. Because of the extreme heat of this fire, however, when it was eventually put out, it was realized that this fire had melted the brick that the fort was constructed out of. The result of this blazing hot fire and melting brick is now an extremely eerie fort that is dripping with a sort of artificial red brick stalactites. The photos of it look super eerie, and the fort still remains out there, so if you ever want to take a little visit, you can. In our number 7 spot today we have the McShrimp. If you've ever wanted to get fried shrimp from McDonald's, apparently all you have to do is head over to Russia, as this is a Russian exclusive. I guess everyone in Russia got tired of regular old chicken nuggets and decided to make the move to popcorn shrimp instead. You can order the shrimp as a side, or you can order them as the main event as a combo, which comes with the standard fries and drink. Also, apparently you can sub out your fries in any meal combo for the shrimp instead, which seems like an unfair trade, but hey, I'm sure McDonald's can afford it. Or maybe shrimp is easier to come by in Russia than potatoes? Apparently, instead of the regular tartar sauce, the shrimp is instead served with a Thousand Island dressing, which seems like a weird choice. I don't know. I'm not sure I trust McDonald's shrimp, but if anyone watching this video has ever had it, let us all know how it is. Is it worth it? I can't believe I just spent a whole minute telling the internet about McDonald's shrimp. It's weird. I love this job. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Batagaika Crater. This crater has been formed as the rising temperatures thawed the permafrost, and the nearby forest was cleared, and the warmer summers and shorter winters are now causing the soil to collapse. This combo has led to this being the largest permafrost crater in the entire world, and it is only growing. It is already at least 1 kilometer long and 100 meters deep, but that number continues to rise. There are now regular landslides into the crater, which makes it a super dangerous place to be around as well. According to research that was published in 2016, the crater is growing at a yearly average of 10 meters per year, which is definitely very quickly. While this could be disastrous, the crater has unveiled a host of fossilized material, which is also incredible for researchers. The rapid expansion has uncovered fossils of ancient forests and pollen, as well as animal carcasses like musk ox, mammoth, and horse, along with many more animals. This kind of discovery has given us insight into 200,000 to 650,000 years of climate data, which is truly unbelievable. So while this crater could pose a major problem, it is nice to know that something interesting also came out of it. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Lena stone pillars. This remote forest of stone pillars is located along the Lena River, and they truly are a sight to see. These natural rock formations are roughly 150 to 300 meters high, and they were formed in some of the Cambrian period sea basins, so just a cool 500 million years ago. The pillars consist of alternating layers of limestone, marlstone, dolomite, and slate. Because of how long these pillars have been here, combined with their remoteness, the forest of pillars contains amazing information about Earth and its living population development. There are numerous fossils found here that are of ancient organisms, and they really provide insight to the life that existed here 500 million years ago. If you want to go and visit the pillars, it is no easy journey, but just by looking at photos, I can tell that those who are lucky enough to go certainly will not be disappointed. In our number 4 spot today, we have this scary monument. Okay, I guess Russians really like weird monuments or something, which is totally fine, no judgment here, but this one is kind of freaky. This monument is a collection of bronze sculptures which depict a variety of adult vices that affect children. The figures are seemingly closing in on the 2 unaware children that are playing in the center, which is both poignant but also very ominous and a little creepy. The children are seen as being indifferent and almost unaware. The official title of the monument is Children Are the Victims of Adult Vices, and it was first unveiled in 2001. With the unveiling, of course, came controversy because, well, it's a lot. People were of course worried that this monument would frighten children, but maybe that's the point? I don't know. This is a weird one that I'm really not sure how to feel about. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. I totally understand the message and the point, but do you think it's a little much? In our number 3 spot today, we have Lake Baikal. When I was researching for this video, an article I got information from, which was from the Smithsonian Magazine website and was written by Alistair Bland, started off by saying, "No lake is more lake than Lake Baikal." And that made me laugh, but the more I learned about it, the more I realized how true that really was. Not only is this lake the largest freshwater lake in the world, but this lake is also the deepest, oldest, and most voluminous of all of the lakes. This lake is more than 5,300 feet deep, and its crescent-shaped figure first appeared 25 million years ago as a vast rift valley through the divergence of the planet's crust. Today, this lake contains around 20% of the Earth's lake and river water, and if this wasn't enough to describe how large it is, apparently it takes a water molecule an average of 330 years to flow through the lake from inlet to outlet. I'm not exactly sure how they know that, but as you are all very aware, I am not a scientist. One of the most fascinating things about this lake is that it is home to a wide variety of species, and many of them can't be found anywhere else on Earth. If you visit this lake in the wintertime, you'll find it absolutely frozen with a layer of ice as thick as 2 meters. So if you're heading over for a fishing trip, you better be ready for ice fishing. Or perhaps it may be better to wait until the summertime. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Dancing Forest. The Dancing Forest is obviously a forest, but it is filled with pine trees that are most notable for their unusual twisted pattern. The trees can be seen in shapes like hearts, rings, and spirals, all bending into the ground. The trees were planted in the 1960s to try and stabilize the dune sand, and no one really knows why they feature this strange curving pattern. Some would suggest that the trees follow the movement of the sands. Some others believe that the curving is due to the activity of the caterpillar of the pine shoot moth, which may have damaged the tree's buds, making them begin to grow strangely, but since trees just end up growing towards the sun, the longer they grew, the more they straightened out. This does make sense since most of the curvature happens at the bottom part of the tree, but it is still weird to think that maybe this is all due to something else entirely. Folklore says that the dancing trees appear this way because in this spot, many centuries ago, they were made to dance in order to prove the power of the Christian God. Climbing through the rings of the trees is said to either add a year to a person's life or grant them one wish. So, if you're in the area, I'd highly recommend climbing through those trees just in case. But stay away from the moths, they sound yucky. In our number 1 spot today we have the Shigir Idol. This idol is the oldest known wooden sculpture in the world, dating back all the way to the Mesolithic era, just after the end of the last ice age. The wood that the idol is carved from is said to be around 12,000 years old. The sculpture was first discovered in 1890 at a depth of 4 meters in a peat bog on the eastern slope of the Middle Earls. The idol was found in 10 separate pieces, which were later put together by a professor, and then later pieced together again in 1914 in a different pattern by an archaeologist. It is really cool because researchers have been able to piece together how they believe the idol was made, and that would have been by using 3 different chisels, one of them being the lower jawbone of a beaver with sharpened incisor teeth. This discovery completely changed the view on when it was once believed that humans began making ritual art. Before this discovery, it was thought to have been 8,000 years ago, but this idol tells a much different, much older story. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thank you so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I'll see you next time. Bye!